Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
So, have you ever felt like you're just drowning in all the things you got to do in life?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, especially for young adults who are just kind of getting started.
Yeah,
It feels like everything's coming at you all at once.
it is.
And so that's what we're talking about today in this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're looking at some ideas for like how to prep those students for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like practical skills,
Right.
navigating the modern world. I mean, even looking at this really interesting concept called home techonomics.
Yeah, it's really interesting how there's so much talk about how we should be changing education for young adults these days.
Yeah.
And it's not just about making sure that they can, change tire or cook something,
Right.
although those are important too. It's
Yeah.
really about making sure they understand the systems that they're going to be interacting with,
Yeah.
like bureaucracies, social structures, like the whole thing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. How do we make sure that these students aren't just surviving,
Right.
but they're actually thriving when they get out on their own,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe in a dorm or in their first apartment?
Right.
And that's what we're going to be looking at today.
Uh-huh.
We have all these really cool sources
Yeah.
that basically lay out this potential life skills course that could be taught at a university level.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like Adulting 101, if you want to think about it that way.
Yeah.
And get this, one of them even suggests a dorm schedule that's based on a cruise ship.
Oh, wow.
It definitely sounds more fun than my college experience.
Oh, for sure.
Well, so what's so interesting about this proposed life skills course
Yeah.
is that it's not just about practical things.
Right.
They're calling it LSML 101.
Yeah.
But they weave in all these bigger concepts, too.
Mm.
It's like they took home ec,
Yeah.
and then they mixed in some sociology
Yeah.
and philosophy, and then they were like, let's throw in some future tech in there, too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right.
You had me at philosophy, but then you said philosophy and future tech.
Yeah.
I need to know more about this.
Yeah.
So what exactly does this LSML 1101 course involve?
Well, they really dive deep into the course outline and lesson plans.
Okay.
Like you got your basic modules on budgeting, cooking, home maintenance, all
Yeah.
that good stuff.
Right?
But then they layer in things like understanding societal structures,
Yeah.
how to navigate relationships,
Wow.
even sexual health and reproduction.
Wow.
It's really comprehensive.
Okay, so we're talking about way more than just making sure that they can sew on a button
Oh, yeah.
or bake a cake.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really about equipping them for all of the different aspects of life.
Right.
This is what I would call holistic education.
Yeah.
But how would you even teach something like that?
Right.
It seems like a lot to cover.
Well, that's where it gets really interesting because they suggest using like a whole mix of teaching methods.
Yeah.
You have your traditional lectures, you got your textbook learning, but then they also say, let's throw in some interactive workshops,
Okay.
simulations, even things like AI-assisted tools so that they can get personalized help.
AI tutors.
Yeah.
Okay, I can get on board with that.
Yeah,
That sounds a lot more fun than just trying to get through a textbook by yourself in your dorm room.
for sure.
So let's talk about one of the more unique parts of this course.
Okay.
It's mastering bureaucracy.
Yeah?
And I know what you're thinking.
What's that?
Bureaucracy.
Yeah.
That's like the definition of boring.
Yeah.
But trust me, this is where it gets really fascinating.
Okay.
This source is saying that understanding how bureaucracy works is like having this secret weapon out in the real world.
Yeah, it's all about empowering these young adults.
Yeah.
The source was talking about the sociologist Max Weber,
Hmm.
who thought that bureaucracies, even though they're super frustrating,
Yeah.
are really the dominant system in pretty much all the institutions that we have to interact with. So like hospitals, universities, government agencies, you name it.
Yeah.
So understanding how the rules of the game work,
Uh-huh.
it can be really empowering.
Yeah, it's like instead of just feeling totally lost and intimidated by all the paperwork and procedures,
Right.
you can learn how to like actually navigate the system.
Yeah.
You're not just a helpless cog in this giant machine.
Exactly. And they have all these really practical tips
Oh, okay.
for mastering this.
Like what?
So like learning the rules,
Okay.
mastering the paperwork,
Uh-huh.
being persistent but polite,
Oh,
knowing what your rights are,
right?
even using technology to your advantage.
Yeah.
It's all about taking control.
Yeah. And I love that. It's
Yeah.
like, instead of teaching students to be afraid of bureaucracy, you're teaching them to use it to their advantage.
Yeah.
And honestly, who hasn't felt totally lost trying to navigate some kind of complicated system?
Oh, yeah,
I know I have.
for sure.
Like, remember that time when I was trying to...
Oh, we've all been there. But the good thing about this whole life skills course is that they're trying to give students the tools and knowledge to face all these different challenges.
Totally.
Head on.
It's about building their confidence and their ability to advocate for themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about all the practical stuff, but this source also has a fun side.
Okay.
So let's lighten things up a little bit and talk about this cruise ship dorm schedule idea.
Yeah.
I'm already intrigued.
So just imagine there's this structured weekly schedule for all the dorm residents.
Okay.
Where each day has a specific theme or activity. So like you could have a movie night.
Yeah.
Arts and crafts night.
Okay.
They even suggest things like mini golf.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Mini golf night in the dorms?
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I wish they had that back when I was in college. Okay, but seriously, what's like the educational value of this?
Well, it's all about creating a sense of routine and anticipation, which are really important for time management and also well-being. So a predictable schedule is going to help students plan their time.
Right.
And the anticipation of all these fun events can actually boost their mood.
Oh.
And even their motivation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like you always have something to look forward to every week.
Yeah.
Something to like break up all that monotony of studying and classes.
Right.
And it's not just about individual benefits, right?
No.
There's this whole community aspect to it.
For sure.
So if you're having these shared experiences, students are going to connect more.
Yeah.
Build friendships.
Right.
And create a stronger community in the dorms.
Yeah.
So just imagine, like, every Wednesday night is mini golf night.
Yeah.
It creates this sense of belonging and shared excitement.
Well, exactly.
You've convinced me. I need to go back to college and demand mini golf night.
Yeah.
But seriously, I love this idea of blending fun and structure in a way that helps students to grow.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
It really shows how much creativity and thought went into this whole LSML Web 101 curriculum. They're thinking outside the box about how to get students engaged and how to prepare them for the real world.
Okay, so we've talked about practical life skills, navigating bureaucracy.
Right.
We even had a little fun talking about a cruise ship-themed dorm schedule.
Yeah.
But buckle up, because now we're going to dive into the future with this concept called home techonomics.
Okay.
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
So this is where the source takes this turn into the world of tech automation and microeconomics and the future of home life.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating mix.
It is.
So just give it to me straight. What is home techonomics?
So it's this idea that your home can actually become a kind of business.
Yeah.
So by using technology and smart financial planning, you can maximize your efficiency and maybe even generate some income.
Okay, wait. A business from home? Are we talking about turning everyone into an entrepreneur?
Well, not necessarily like creating a full-blown company. It's more about just leveraging the resources and opportunities that you have at home. So think about things like smart appliances that are automating tasks, AI that's managing budgets and investments, even creating and selling products or services online.
Okay, this is starting to sound like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Give me some examples.
Okay.
What would this actually look like?
So imagine a student who's living in a dorm or a small apartment. They could use smart appliances to automate things like cooking, cleaning, laundry. Which would free up time.
Yeah.
So they could focus on studying or maybe even pursuing a side hustle. And then they could use AI-powered tools to manage their money. Track their spending, and even explore micro-investment opportunities.
So it's not just about saving time and money.
Right.
It's about creating new possibilities. So like while my smart oven is whipping up dinner, maybe I can use that extra time to learn something new.
Yeah.
Or work on a creative project.
For sure.
Okay.
So it's about reclaiming that time and those resources and using them to actually grow as a person.
Yeah.
And maybe even professionally.
Okay, so we've gone from budgeting to bureaucracy to now we're building a business from our living room.
Right.
But get ready for this.
Okay.
The source also throws in a little bit of classical education theory.
Oh.
Time travel anyone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm following here.
Well, it may seem like a strange mix, but there's actually a common thread running through all of these ideas.
Okay.
So LSML 1101, even though it focuses on these modern skills like Python coding,
Okay.
they even mention quantum computing.
Wait a minute, Python, quantum computing,
Uh-huh.
and classical education.
Yeah.
Now I'm officially lost.
Oh, okay.
How do all of those fit together?
So just bear with me on this one, because this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
So LSML 1101, whether they meant to or not, is drawn inspiration from both cutting-edge technology and the ancient trivium and quadrivium of classical education.
Okay. Now you're just using big words to make me feel dumb.
Okay.
Remind me what those are again.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I slept through that part of history class.
So the trivium focuses on grammar, logic, and rhetoric, which are basically the arts of language and communication. And then the quadrivium. That covers arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy.
Right.
And so these concepts might seem really old, but they're actually the foundation for a lot of the skills that we still value today.
Okay, so you're saying whether you're writing like a killer Python script or you're trying to craft this really persuasive argument, those basic skills of clear communication, logical thinking, and problem solving are still essential.
Exactly. And it's fascinating how the trivium, with its emphasis on logic and rhetoric, can be directly applied to writing like really elegant, efficient Python code. Because it's all about clear communication, even when you're talking to a machine.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way.
So then the quadrivium, with its focus on math and science and pattern recognition, those are also essential for understanding complex systems, whether you're analyzing data, designing algorithms, or just trying to navigate the complexities of modern life. So it's all connected.
I am officially on board with this whole classical education revival. So how does this all tie back to LSML 101 and preparing students for the real world?
So this curriculum, by blending all these seemingly different elements, is creating this well-rounded approach to education. So it's about giving students these foundational skills, the ability to adapt, and the critical thinking skills that they need to succeed in a world that's constantly changing.
It's like they're creating Renaissance humans for the 21st century. Okay, I think we need a minute to process all of this. So before we go on, let's just do a quick recap of what we've talked about. We started by talking about this amazing fictional course, LSML 1101, which is all about giving young adults this whole range of life skills, from the practical stuff to the more conceptual. And then we got into this surprisingly fascinating world of bureaucracy. Which again is about understanding the system and using it to your advantage.
And we can't forget about that cruise ship dorm schedule. That cleverly combines structure and fun to help students with their well-being and build community.
I'm still a little bit jealous of those students and their mini golf nights. But then we took this giant leap into the future with home techonomics, which is this idea that technology can empower us to create opportunities and maximize our efficiency at home.
And then we brought it all the way back around to those timeless principles of classical education, highlighting how important logic, communication, and problem-solving skills are in this world that's so driven by technology.
That was a lot. But it feels like we've just scratched the surface of some really important ideas. So I'm curious what stands out to you so far.
What really strikes me is how much they're emphasizing empowerment.
Yeah.
It's not just about handing students this to-do list for adultins.
Right.
It's about giving them the tools and like the right mindset to take control of their lives, their finances, their well-being, even how they deal with those scary bureaucracies.
Totally. It's about helping them to feel confident and capable,
right,
not totally overwhelmed and intimidated by the whole real world thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's where home techonomics is so powerful. It kind of flips the script on how we think about home life.
Yeah.
It's not just about bills and chores.
Right.
It could be like this launching pad for personal and even professional growth.
It's interesting to think about what this means for society, too.
Yeah.
Like, could home techonomics be part of the solution to the rise in cost of living?
Right.
Especially for young adults.
Yeah.
Imagine students who are actually making money from their dorms or their apartments, all while they're learning these valuable life skills.
Talk about a total paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a future I can definitely get behind.
Yeah.
But let's not get too ahead of ourselves with these futuristic fantasies.
Okay.
What about the downsides?
Right.
I mean, all this technology integration brings up some big questions about privacy. And what about people who aren't really into technology?
Yeah.
Or those who can't afford all the latest gadgets?
Right.
Does this just create like a whole new set of inequalities?
Yeah, those are really important questions.
Yeah.
And the source does acknowledge those potential challenges.
Okay.
They emphasize that technology needs to be secure. Yeah. And it needs to be accessible to everybody,
right,
not just something that benefits a select few.
Exactly.
It's a good reminder that with any new innovation, we need to really think critically about who benefits and who might get left behind.
Yeah, we don't want to create a future where only the tech elite can thrive.
Right.
And that's why I think this focus on broader life skills is so important.
Yeah.
It's not about turning everyone into a coder or a tech whiz.
Right.
It's about developing those critical thinking skills.
And the ability to adapt.
Right.
So that they can succeed in any situation, whether they have the latest gadgets or not.
So let's go back to the specifics of LSML 1101.
Okay.
I'm impressed with how many topics they cover.
Yeah.
It's not just about budgeting and bureaucracy.
Right.
Although those are essential, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about modules on health and wellness, relationships, communication, diversity and inclusion, even sexual health and reproduction.
Yeah. It's clearly designed to be this holistic approach to preparing students for all the complexities of adult life.
And I'm really intrigued by the emphasis on interactive learning.
Yeah.
The source suggests hands-on workshops, simulations, even those AI-assisted tools we talked about. It's about meeting students where they are and provide the support they need so they can really understand these concepts.
For sure.
One module that really jumped out at me was the one on navigating different family structures and relationships.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's not your typical home ec subject.
No, it really speaks to how much family dynamic have changed in today's world.
Yeah.
The curriculum recognizes that students come from all different kinds of backgrounds with different experiences and different support systems.
Yeah.
So it's about making the learning environment more inclusive and relevant, reflecting what the real world actually looks like.
And it's not just about acknowledging that diversity exists.
Right.
It's about giving students the skills to actually navigate those differences with sensitivity and understanding.
Exactly. It's about building bridges across those cultural divides, fostering empathy, and ultimately trying to create communities that are more compassionate and connected.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it's like we're not just preparing them for individual success.
Right.
We're planting the seeds for a more harmonious society.
Which brings us back to that bigger goal that we talked about.
Yeah.
Empowering young adults to be active and engaged citizens. It's not just about surviving in the system. It's about understanding it.
Yeah.
Engaging with it in a thoughtful way.
Right.
And maybe even working to make it better.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
But I'm still stuck on this idea of Python coding and quantum computing being part of this life skills curriculum.
Right.
I mean, it seems like we're jumping from practical life skills to these super advanced tech concepts.
Yeah, it might seem like a big jump. But the source makes this really good argument for why these skills are relevant in a world that's driven by AI.
Okay.
Especially Python. It's becoming this valuable tool in so many different industries, not just in tech itself.
So we're not trying to turn every student into a programmer?
No, not necessarily. It's about giving them a basic understanding of how these technologies work and how they're being applied out in the real world.
Okay.
It's kind of like knowing how your computer works.
Yeah.
Even if you don't build computers yourself,
right?
That understanding makes you a more informed and empowered user.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's about digital literacy.
Right.
Being able to use and understand technology confidently, regardless of what you end up doing for a living.
Exactly.
And same goes for quantum computing.
Yeah.
Even though it's still pretty new. And a really complex field.
Right.
Introducing these concepts early on can really spark their curiosity.
Yeah.
Encourage them to think critically. And prepare them for a future where these technologies will be a big deal.
Yeah, they're going to play a major role.
Okay. I can see how it all fits together. It's not about turning every student into a quantum physicist.
Right.
It's about encouraging them to be flexible and adaptable.
Yeah.
And willing to learn and grow as technology keeps advancing.
And we can't forget that these technologies could completely change so many different aspects of our lives. Everything from healthcare to transportation to how we deal with climate change. So it's about giving young adults the tools to participate in these conversations and make informed decisions about the future they want to create.
So it's not just about the skills themselves.
No.
It's about fostering a broader understanding of how technology is shaping our world.
Yeah.
And empowering them to be part of that conversation.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've explored this LSML 101 curriculum from budgeting to bureaucracy to Python coding and everything in between. What really stands out to you about this potential course?
I think the thing that's most impressive is the clear vision behind it.
Yeah.
This isn't just some random collection of life skills.
Right.
There's this real intentionality to it to prepare young adults for a 21st century world that's complex. It's changing so fast.
Right.
And it's full of both challenges and opportunities.
Totally. It's like they took the best parts of traditional home ec, mixed in some contemporary issues like diversity and technology literacy, and then they added some forward-thinking concepts like home techonomics and how emerging technologies are going to impact society.
It's a really impressive mix.
Yeah.
And it's not just about individual success. They're really emphasizing things like civic engagement, getting involved in your community, sustainability. It's about helping students to become responsible, contributing members of society who want to make the world a better place.
That's such an important point.
Yeah.
It's not just about what you gain.
Right.
It's about feeling responsible to something bigger than yourself. And that brings us back to home techonomics.
Yeah.
We've talked about all the potential benefits, but I think we need to go back to those potential downsides again.
Right. As we mentioned, there are some concerns about privacy and data security with all this technology that's being integrated into our lives.
Right. And we have to be careful not to make inequalities worse if only people who can afford the technology have access to it.
Yeah.
And what about all the jobs that could be lost?
All right.
As machines start taking over all these tasks that humans used to do.
Yeah, those are some serious things to think about.
Yeah.
The source does acknowledge those potential problems.
Okay.
And they stress how important it is to think carefully about how we're using technology.
Right.
And to make sure that we're implementing it ethically.
It's a good reminder that technology is just a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
Right.
It's up to us to figure out how we're going to use it.
Yeah.
And make sure that it's actually benefiting all of society.
Right, not just a few people.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's about using technology to create a future that's more equitable and sustainable.
Yeah.
And where everybody can have a fulfilling life.
So we've explored this incredible combination of ideas.
Yeah.
From classical education to cutting-edge technology.
Right.
And we've been looking at it through the lens of how we prepare young adults for a world that's constantly changing.
Yeah. What's the most important thing you've taken away from all of this?
For me, it's remembering that education is about so much more than just learning facts and skills. It's about empowering people to become active, informed, and engaged citizens who want to make the world a better place.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about giving young adults the tools and the mindset they need to not just survive in today's complex world, but to really thrive and make a meaningful contribution.
And it's about encouraging that sense of wonder and curiosity.
Yeah.
And being able to adapt when things are always changing.
It's clear that the future is going to have both challenges and opportunities.
Yeah.
But if young adults have the right skills, the right knowledge, and the right attitude, they can not only face those challenges, but they can actually grab onto those opportunities and make the world a better place.
For themselves and for future generations.
It's an inspiring vision.
It is.
And I'm excited to see how these ideas continue to grow and shape the future of education.
Me too.
It feels like we've only just started to explore these big ideas.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think what's really cool is this shift we're seeing in education.
Yeah.
It's moving away from just academics and toward a more holistic approach.
Right.
I mean, we're finally acknowledging that things like emotional intelligence, practical life skills, even thinking about the ethical implications of technology are just as important as all the traditional academic stuff.
Yeah, you're so right. It's like we're finally realizing that success in life isn't just about having good grades and getting a high-paying job. It's about being adaptable, being well-rounded, and knowing how to deal with all those curveballs that life is going to throw your way.
For sure.
Especially in the 21st century where things are changing so quickly. You need to have a solid foundation to navigate it all.
And it's not just about individual achievement anymore either.
Right.
The sources that we've looked at suggest that young adults today are really interested in making a positive impact on the world. They're thinking about their careers, their personal choices, how they're involved in their communities. They really want to make a difference.
I love that. It's like we're moving from the me generation to the we generation. But let's be realistic. Not every young adult is going to be super passionate about saving the world or becoming a social entrepreneur.
So how do we make these concepts connect with everybody?
Well, I think the key is to connect those broader concepts to things that they're already interested in and to their own lives. So like, for example, the LSML 1101 module on sustainable living. That might not sound that exciting to everybody at first. But if you frame it in terms of saving money on your energy bills or reducing your impact on the environment, suddenly it becomes a lot more relevant.
It's all about finding those points of connection. We need to show students how these skills and ideas can help them build a better life for themselves and for others. It's about helping them to see the bigger picture and how they can be part of it.
And it's about giving them a sense of agency. Because a lot of times young adults feel like they're just cogs in this giant machine. Whether it's the education system, the job market, or even just all the information that's out there. It's easy to feel lost and powerless in today's world.
But the sources we've been looking at offer a different way of looking at things. They suggest that if young adults have the right knowledge and skills and the right mindset, they can actually become the architects of their own lives and help to shape the world around them.
And it doesn't have to be about these big, grand gestures or revolutionary ideas. It can start with something as simple as mastering bureaucracy. Like knowing how to navigate all those complicated systems and advocate for yourself.
That can be incredibly empowering.
Or using technology to make your home life better. So you have more time and resources to do the things you love. It's about taking those small steps that can actually lead to a more fulfilling life and a life where you can have a bigger impact.
It's those little wins that build up over time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And let's not forget how important community and connection are. The cruise ship dorm schedule is a great example. It's about creating opportunities for people to have shared experiences, to build relationships, and to feel like they belong. Those connections are so important, especially for young adults who are just starting to live on their own.
It's like that saying, it takes a village. Having a good support network of friends and mentors, even just other people living in your dorm, can make a huge difference.
We're social creatures. And how happy and healthy we are is really connected to the quality of our relationships. Those connections give us support, encouragement, and that sense of belonging, which are all super important for doing well in any environment.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question. We've talked about this really interesting concept of home techonomics and how it could change the way we live and work. But is it really a solution to the challenges that young adults are facing today? Or is it just some futuristic fantasy?
That's a great question. And I think it's one we really need to think about carefully. There's no doubt that technology has the power to totally change our lives. But it's super important that we're using it ethically, responsibly, and in a way that benefits everyone.
Not just a few people.
Exactly.
You can't just jump on board with every new technology without thinking about what the consequences might be. It's about making conscious decisions about how we're going to use technology in our own lives and making sure that it lines up with our values and what we want to achieve.
And remember, technology is just one part of the solution. We also need to make sure that people have access to a good education, that we have strong social support systems, and that we're building a culture that values things like connection, well-being. And
that's how we create a future where everyone has a chance to thrive.
So well said.
To all our listeners out there, I want to encourage you to think critically about how technology is affecting your own lives and the world around you. Ask yourself, how can we use the power of technology for good?
Yeah.
And at the same time, minimize those potential downsides.
Right.
How can we create a future where technology actually helps us to live more fulfilling lives? Lives that are more sustainable, and lives where we're more connected to each other.
Those are the big questions we all need to be thinking about. And remember, the future isn't something that just happens to us. It's something that we create together.
Yeah.
One choice at a time, one new idea at a time, one connection at a time.
That's the power of knowledge.
Yeah.
And that's what we love about these deep dives. It's about exploring these ideas together.
Right.
Challenging what we think we know. And broadening our understanding of the world.
Until next time, keep exploring. Keep asking those tough questions.
And
keep working to make the world a better place.
For yourselves and for everyone around you.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you on our next deep dive.